Now at 10, we've had one round of wintry weather that has rolled through, but round number 2 is heading our way. I'll have those details.
Plus, we'll look at what school districts consider when they decide whether to cancel classes or go digital. And Missouri legislation that would allow more people to carry guns in schools.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Some heavy sleet this afternoon made the roads pretty bad, and we're not done yet. This is the KOAM News at 10. I'm Danny Terzer. Doug Hetty joins us with the first look at weather.
Yeah, it turned out to be a nasty day for us today. We had very intense thunder sleet and thunder snow. The areas that got all snow picked up 2 to 4 inches. The areas that got all sleet, 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Officially in Joplin, 3/4 of an inch of sleet. And of course, you know what it does to the roads. You really can't plow it, so it just packs down into just a layer of ice. So we still have some pretty bad roads out there. Winter storm warning continues. All the counties in pink, so this is along and south of I-44. All the counties in purple, you're under a winter weather advisory. Our only county excluded is Woodson. So Yates Center still going to get a little bit of light snow, but not enough to hit that criteria. Look at this big band that rolled through. It only lasted about 3 hours, but it was intense as it worked through during the morning and then into the afternoon hours. Out there right now, it's very light. The wind's blowing, so most of us, we just kind of have sideways snow. It's not really accumulating. It will start to accumulate again a little bit later on tonight. Southern counties, a little bit of light sleet across the region. It's going to be very light over the next several hours, but especially after about 3 o'clock in the morning, we're going to start to see this ramp back up across the region into tomorrow morning. So we're going to break it all down for you here in just a little bit.
Reports of explosions in Ukrainian cities tonight as Russia's president announces a military operation is underway in Ukraine. President Joe Biden denounced the, quote, unprovoked and unjustified attack on Ukraine and said the world will, quote, hold Russia accountable. We'll have more on the now escalated tensions in Ukraine here in a bit. But first, a look at what's happening here locally. The winter weather is creating some dangerous road conditions across the area. This car in Joplin ran off the road near Landreth Park and went into the creek. Joplin fire crews rescued the driver. There were no injuries reported. Wintry weather caused many area students to stay home from school today. While some students had the day off as a snow day, others had a virtual day known as an AMI day. In Missouri, each school district is allowed up to 36 hours of AMI learning per school year. Then there are also snow days that have to be made up by the end of the school year. The Joplin School District says they're using an AMI day today to keep their calendar on track.
Our last day of school is the Friday before Memorial Day, so we don't like to go past Memorial Day if we can help it, and so that is when we kick in our AMI. So we are on our 3rd AMI day.
This is the 3rd AMI day the Joplin School District has used this year. Missouri school districts are allowed up to 5 per year. The Missouri House has endorsed legislation that could expand the number of school personnel allowed to carry guns. Current law lets teachers and administrators undergo training to function as school protection officers. A bill endorsed by a voice vote in the House would expand that to any school personnel. That means custodians, cooks, and maintenance staff also could be trained to carry guns as school protection officers. The bill needs another House vote to advance to the Senate. As of late August, there were 42 school staff across the state who had undergone training as protection officers. No masks required at Target anymore. The nation's 2nd biggest retailer said customers and employees don't need to wear a face covering, regardless of their vaccination status, unless state or local rules say they should. The move comes as coronavirus cases fall nationwide and more states drop indoor mask mandates. Earlier this month, Walmart and Amazon dropped mask requirements for fully vaccinated employees. Washington, D.C. is calling in hundreds of unarmed National Guard troops ahead of planned protests similar to the recent truck blockade in Canada. Some of the truckers have started heading out today and are planning to arrive in the D.C. area ahead of next week's State of the Union address. Skylar Henry reports from Capitol Hill.
A group of U.S. truckers left Adelanto, California Wednesday on their way to Washington, D.C. to protest coronavirus restrictions.
It is beyond time to restore freedom, liberty, and accountability, and God bless the truckers because they are the ones carrying that message across this great country.
A small, separate contingent also set out Wednesday morning from Scranton, Pennsylvania.
We have to stand up for our rights. We're supposed to be the most freest country in the world, and we're being restricted. They're taking away everything from us one at a time, and it has to stop.
The planned convoys follow recent trucker protests in Canada, where big rigs jammed the streets of Ottawa for weeks to protest vaccine requirements. The convoys may not try to jam up D.C. streets like the truckers did in Canada. Instead, they may try to snarl the Beltway, the 64-mile highway surrounding the nation's capital. The trucks are expected to arrive as the nation prepares for next week's State of the Union address. Heavy vehicles are set up near the entrance to Capitol Hill. The Pentagon has approved the deployment of 700 unarmed National Guard troops to assist with traffic control. And a memo to Capitol Hill staffers warned they should anticipate that these convoys may cause higher than normal traffic volumes and possible transportation disruptions. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Washington.
The Pentagon says 400 Guard members from the District of Columbia will be joined by 300 Guard members. The National Guard Bureau says they'll come from Virginia, New Jersey, and Vermont beginning later this week. Still ahead, we'll have the latest on tensions between the Ukraine and Russia and how those tensions are affecting the price you pay at the pump. Russian President Vladimir Putin tonight announced a military operation in Ukraine, claiming it's intended to protect civilians. He also said the attack was needed to protect civilians in eastern Ukraine, a claim the U.S. has predicted he would falsely make to justify an invasion. In a televised address, Putin accused the U.S. and its allies of ignoring Russia's demand to prevent Ukraine from joining NATO and offer Moscow security guarantees. He said Russia's goal was not to occupy Ukraine.
The People's Republic of Lugansk and Donetsk need our help. They've asked for our help with this regard. From the 7th Charter, from the UN Charter of the Territorial Assembly, an agreement on friendship and assistance with the people of Donetsk, the people of Lugansk. A decision has been made of a special military operation. Its aim is to defend the people who for 8 years have put up with terrible humiliation.
The Ukrainian president rejected Moscow's claims that his country poses a threat to Russia and said a Russian invasion would cost tens of thousands of lives. President Zelensky said, quote, "The people of Ukraine and the government of Ukraine want peace." The threat of war between Russia and Ukraine is hitting Americans at the gas pump. Tensions half a world away are already driving up the price of a gallon of gas. And analysts warn there's no relief in sight just as many begin planning their spring break travels. Jen Sullivan has a closer look.
Gas prices are at the highest in more than 7 years, and with tensions rising between Russia and Ukraine, things could get worse.
The last time I filled it up was about 110.
Prices in California hit a record last week, but the pain at the pump is being felt nationwide. Gas prices have been surging for 14 months, with global demand for oil back to pre-pandemic levels. According to AAA, the national average for gasoline was $3.53 a gallon. That's up 20 cents in the past month.
The global oil supply is still kind of tight. And then you have this uncertainty about what's going to happen with Russia and Ukraine, and that throws a lot of other uncertainty into the mix.
Russia is one of the world's largest oil producers, and if the crisis escalates, some experts fear Russia could cut off natural gas exports in retaliation for sanctions by the U.S. and the European Union. If that happens, the absence of a major oil exporter like Russia could increase global demand for oil from other countries, which would impact retail prices here at home.
If we were to see Russia potentially withhold energy exports, the question would be who could make up for that?
President Biden pledging to use every tool available to limit gas price hikes as his administration faces pressure to dip back to the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Back in November, they announced the largest ever release of emergency crude oil from that supply.
I want to limit the pain the American people are feeling at the gas pump. This is critical to me.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
The Biden administration says it's engaging with oil-producing countries to increase production and asking the FTC to investigate higher gas prices. Later, Pitt State will open up their conference schedule against rival Missouri Southern. We'll hear from the Gorillas ahead of the matchup in sports.
Plus, we still have some light sleet and snow that we need to get through. We're going to talk about that coming up. Well, it turned out to be a nasty day for us today. Of course, we had the thunder sleet, thunder snow at times. So it's just a thunderstorm, but it's so cold that you're getting frozen precip instead of rain. And of course, on a thunderstorm, you get very heavy rain. Thunder sleet or thunder snow, you get very heavy sleet and snow. And that's why the rates were so high. We only got it for about 3 hours, but it really came down at a pretty good clip. All right, Indigo Sky Casino and Resorts. You can see the snow and ice out there, so make sure you are very careful if you are going to be out tonight into tomorrow. Of course, we still have a winter storm warning. All the counties in pink, mainly along and south of I-44. Everybody else, winter weather advisory. The farther north you go, the lighter it's going to be with this next round. So that's why just an advisory. But this big batch plowed right on through as we work through the daytime hours for us today. Most of it was out of here by about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but some very intense snow and sleet across the region. As of right now, we do have light snow. It's kind of going sideways. It's very windy. It's not really accumulating, but you can see kind of some of the bands. They're hard to pick up. It's so light on the radar. And then a little bit of light sleet in our southern counties. This is what we're going to get as we go through a good chunk of the overnight hours tonight. Just very light snow, very light sleet, and then it will bump it up a little bit late tonight toward the morning hours. All right, temperatures cold, mid-teens. We're actually rising a little bit. We'll continue to head toward 20 by morning, but the wind just kind of cuts right through you. Northeasterly wind at about 5 to 10, upwards of 15 miles per hour at times. Here's our main wave pulling out of the central parts of the Rockies. It's really going to stretch out and weaken as it heads toward us. So that's why the moisture is not going to be overwhelming for us tonight. So that is the good news. But we will continue to see the freezing rain and sleet start to increase across the eastern half of Oklahoma, and it will give us another little stronger batch late tonight into tomorrow morning. For the next several hours, just this light sleet, light snow doesn't really accumulate. Just kind of makes it nasty outside. Then after 3 o'clock in the morning, we start to get light sleet and snow increasing. Once again, it picks up by 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. We get a little heavy band that rolls through about 9 or 10 o'clock, and then we kind of go back to what we're getting right now, just the snow spitting during the afternoon. But our accumulating stuff is mainly going to be from 3 o'clock in the morning until about 9 o'clock in the morning. 20 to start, 23 by noon. At least we warm up a little bit more, 26 during the afternoon. We start to clear out tomorrow night. Temperatures are going to take a dip with the ice on the ground. I think most of us will go down into the upper single digits for overnight lows, and then we start to head in the right direction by the time Friday heads around, as most of us will make it right around 30 degrees during the afternoon. We'll continue that warming into the weekend. All right, we know roads are bad. They're going to stay bad tonight. Of course, sleet, it always makes the roads really bad because it just kind of packs into the concrete and you can't really plow it. So bad roads all the way through this event. They should start to improve a little bit tomorrow afternoon once we get the sleet and the snow out of here, which is always good news. How much more are we going to get? Because it's mainly going to be sleet, not really snow, so it doesn't amount to too much, but a ½ inch to an inch for most of us of additional accumulations, adjusting to maybe a ½ inch in our western counties. 26 tomorrow, 30 on Friday, near 40 Saturday, near 50 Sunday, near 60 Monday, near 70 by Wednesday. So we really climbed the ladder as we go through the next few days. It'll be nice to be nearly 70 degrees by the middle of next week.
Yeah, I'll take the upward trend.
Yeah.
68 doesn't sound too bad for this time of year.
Yeah, it's better to go up than down.
Thanks, Doug. Well, coming up in sports, the Missouri Southern women move up in the regional rankings this week, and the Pittsburgh State baseball team prepares for their first MIAA series of the season. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
Doug Hetty has
Pittsburgh State Gorillas are in the final week of the basketball regular season. And the Gorillas have just two more games before the conference tournament, beginning tonight on the road against Emporia State. The Gorillas trying to avoid a third straight loss after dropping a pair of games to Southern last week. But Emporia State comes out on top tonight, 93-86. Tristan Gegg scores a team-high 21 for the Gorillas. Corinna Gerber and Aaron Davis each add 16. After that, the Pitt State men hit the floor against the Hornets. The Gorillas coming off back-to-back wins over Missouri Southern, while Emporia State has won 3 of their last 4. And Bobby Arthur Williams scores 14 tonight for PSU, but the Gorillas fall in the end, 75-52. The Missouri Southern women are moving up their regional rankings. The Lions are up 2 spots to number 5 in the Central Regional rankings this week. Now, the top 8 teams in each region after conference tournaments will make the NCAA Division II National Tournament. Southern is 20-5 overall. They've won 13 games in a row. They're tied with Fort Hays State for first place in the MIAA. To Division I now, the Kansas Jayhawks won the Sunflower Showdown last night over K-State, 102-83. As a team, it's the second time KU scored more than 100 points in a game this season. They also put up 102 back in December against the Missouri Tigers. Ochai Agbaji scored 23 last night and passed Wilt Chamberlain on the program's all-time scoring list. Here's head coach Bill Self hyping his guy up after his historic night.
I don't see a lot of significance in that. Wilt played how many seasons and played how many games, and Ochai's played. Wilt played 48 games, and Ochai's played how many? 109. So I don't see a lot of. I don't see a lot of significance.
That's an honor. Appreciate that. To pass that, but I didn't know that. That's just an honor.
I don't know how many points Ochai has for his career, but I mean, even tonight, how efficient was he again? I mean, he takes like 13 shots. I can't see it. I don't have my glasses on, but he takes 13 shots, makes 9. I mean, he was so efficient again tonight. So it's fun to watch him play and move right now. He's definitely in attack mode.
The Pittsburgh State baseball team kicks off their MIAA schedule this weekend. The Gorillas hit the road to face Missouri Southern for their first conference series of the season beginning on Friday. Pitt State has played 10 non-conference games this season. They're coming off a series win over Wayne State, but they're just 4-6 overall to begin the season. The Gorillas have had no problem scoring, but also they've already given up 92 runs in those 10 games. So they know where they need to get better with their conference schedule just 2 days away.
We saw some things that we need to get better at, but again, it comes down to pitching, and we got to do a better job, and we feel like we have a good enough staff. If they'll throw strikes and change speeds and compete in the zone, then we're going to have a chance to be a really good baseball team still. We played the first 10, that was the start, but now everything starts with conference, because this is another year basically. You start with your 33-game conference schedule. You have a few midweeks in there, but vital to come out and play well early.
Obviously, we're not where we want to be in the first 10 games, but I feel like our hitting has done well and our pitching is going to come along. It's early. Our chemistry our team still has to develop, and we're gonna keep hitting and we're gonna pitch, and I believe in our guys.
That's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Over 150.
We take time now to honor a local veteran, Corporal Eustace Barnes. The Hume, Missouri native served in the U.S. Army, and we're proud to salute Corporal Eustace Barnes. He's tonight's four-state hero. A deal struck between a teen and his mom kept the kid off social media for 6 years and put some big bucks in his pocket. Jeremy Roth explains in today's Take a Look at This.
How much would it be worth to stay off social media for most of your teenage years? For Minnesota's Sievert Klefsauce, the price tag was $1,800. When Klefsauce was 12, his mom offered him that exact amount if he stayed off social media entirely until he was 18.
Being 12, I didn't really have a great concept of money yet. So I was like, oh, sick, yeah, absolutely.
Lorna Klefsauce says she was motivated to make the deal, which she called her 18 for 18 challenge, when she saw her daughter too engrossed in her apps and feeds.
Really, it was affecting her mood. It was affecting her friendships.
Like, oh, somebody said this about you, and then, oh, somebody did this, and like, oh, can you believe that somebody's doing that? And I was really spared from all that.
Sievert says the decision was easy because he wasn't too active on social media to begin with. Now 18, this college-bound kid has cashed in on his promise kept and is now wading into the waters of social media at his own pace.
On the whole, I definitely say totally worth it. I mean, I'd do it again.
A pair of pups in Kansas have amassed a social media following for their viral exploits as dogs on a hog, motorcycle mutts, rough riders. Okay, I'll stop. You get the idea. Jesus Carrasco says motorcycle rides with his two dogs were a regular thing. He even had teeny tiny custom helmets created for his puppy passengers. But since his girlfriend started a TikTok dedicated to these chopper chihuahuas, their daily doggo drives are now enjoyed by millions worldwide.
All the way across the world, Japan, China, the UK, Mexico, you know, or even just some neighbors here in Wichita.
For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
I'm still thinking about if I could actually do 6 years off social media. That's pretty impressive.
It is impressive, but I think I might pay $1,800 to not have to look at social media for 6 years.
Yeah, I would squeeze a little more coin out of my mom out of that one. And it's funny, we go from no social media to two dogs who are all over TikTok because they're riding around on a motorcycle. But hey, no motorcycles over the next day or so. It's going to be a little bit on the slick side. Roads are bad tonight, so be careful. We are going to see some sleet and snow picking up again, especially late tonight into tomorrow morning. Then it'll taper off in the afternoon, and all this will be a distant memory by the warming up weekend.
And a final check in sports.
Kansas High School Boys State Wrestling begins tomorrow. We think we have like 60 guys competing tomorrow, so we'll keep you updated on that right here tomorrow night.
Thanks for watching. We hope you all have a great night.
Services provided